Hey there, welcome to Authentically Raw. I'm your host, Jamie Berris. The week before I launched Authentically Raw, I went into a slight state of panic, overwhelm, and anxiety. So I contacted Kimberly Lucht. She is an expert in energy healing, and I asked if she would be up for an interview, a question and answer style interview, because I was very curious about the energy healing, and I figured my listeners would be as well. She is a master at helping people extract bad energy that limits us and blocks us in, areas such as spirituality, physically, mentally, emotionally, monetarily, professionally, in our relationships, you name it. Bad energy gets inside of us and it blocks us. And what she does is extracts it and helps us extract it, but also helps us put in good energy that helps us thrive in life. So right before we hit record, we were speaking of, how the conversation would go. And I opened up to her and said, I have so much anxiety right now. I can't wait for this interview because I'm going to use all these tools that I learned to pull this stuff out and fill myself back up with a state of calm and peace and confidence and just these feelings that help, serve us. And I was feeling tons of angst in my stomach, mostly. And all of a sudden she said, why don't we go ahead and do an actual energy healing session? So this is what you're going to listen to. And if you can, I highly encourage you to watch on YouTube. Watch the video. It might make more sense. But even if not, it's fabulous just to listen along because I think we do a pretty good job of explaining what we're doing at the time, because I am literally pulling bad energy out of my stomach. And as it moves up into my chest, I'm pulling it out of there. And then I'm pulling stuff out of my mouth. It is actually quite comical, but it worked. So I highly encourage you to let this be a guided session for you, because I now have taken just that one session with her and I use this all the time, and it works because no one wants to go around with these feelings, because we all carry our feelings somewhere inside physically. So tune in, and I hope you love this session.
Thanks so much for having me, Jamie. I'm so pumped to be here. And like you said, yes, I'm an energy healer. I'm a coach also for spiritual women in business. Essentially, I love getting to the root of what's like keeping us from having the things that we want. And a lot of that stuff comes down to energetics, which I'm really excited to get into you with today.
I'm excited too, because here I thought, her business is so fascinating. I'm just going to ask her some questions and it'll be a Q&A type of thing, because people run across it. What do you mean, you're an energy healer or you do energy coaching for business? And it sounds like, okay, whatever. I don't really know. And then we, just before we hit record, I thought, well, geez, maybe I'll throw all my stuff at you and you do some of this work with me. I'm going to throw it right off. Well, first, before maybe I ask a question, is there anything like a particular way you would describe energy healing?
Yeah. And so there's so many different modalities. So probably some of your listeners have heard of things like Reiki or even acupuncture. I feel like could be considered a form of energy healing. Anything that essentially gets energy moving through the body. And that can consist of breath work or sounds. Like singing, I feel like is a really potent form of energy work that I don't think is talked about a lot. Movements like dancing and channeling energy through your body. And then the subtle energy body can be tapped into with like even more subtle things that I love to do with people, and like in groups. I've even taught about this in workshops of my own, but like things that you can't necessarily pin down to like what you're physically doing, but it's an energy that either comes through the hands or is like in a center of the body that you work with. Like you're kind of massaging the energy of your body in or out in some way. Usually I'll like work with people who have had issues with like building wealth in their business, or they have this type of block around having a great relationship and a great business. And sometimes that energy will live in the body and we'll have an actual body reaction to those types of situations, because emotions are really just energy in motion. So what I like to do is kind of extract the energy that is not serving you. And there's a myriad of ways that we'll talk about and experiment with today. Um, but essentially, energy work is anything that helps you open up the energy channels in the body, in the heart, in the soul, in your energy centers of the body. Anything that makes you feel like open and expansive. I really think the definition is truly that broad. I've been trained in different modalities myself, but what I really always come back to is it's something that opens you up to all the possibilities of life. It makes you feel like you're weightless. It makes you feel like just super like, whoa, like anything is possible, both physically, emotionally, spiritually, monetarily. It's something that I think can be the foundation for everybody's thriving life.
Well, as you speak, my mind is going just all over the board because I feel like I'm pretty in tune with myself and my energy. Like I have my best ideas when I'm out running or in the shower or out for a walk, things like that. And I love to have my phone with me and I'll do voice recording. But when you're out running, you know, you can hear my feet and I'm huffing and puffing and things like that. So when I come back home, I'm trying to translate things, whether I'm writing or now trying to podcast. I thought, oh, I'll come home, I'll just hit record and then I'll make it sound better and this and that. And then I come home and I start, second guessing things. This actually sounds stupid. I have so many, how do I want to say? So I feel like all this energy, all this stuff to pour out, so many topics and subjects I want to cover that I'm knowledgeable about, that I've went through, that I help people with in my coaching. I'm going to do this podcast and I'm chugging along over the last few months, figuring out how to do it. And now it's crunch time, right? It's coming down and there's been this shift in energy and I feel the perfectionism coming in, the fear of failure, the self-doubt. And I know these are blocks and I know it's this fear of, like this rejection and criticism coming at me. You know, what do you think you are doing this podcast? And all of a sudden I'm claiming up. I'm trying to just record these little episodes. And they're not flowing.
Right. Right. And you bring up such a good point, Jamie, too, because we've all experienced the energetic shift that comes from like going from stationary to moving the body, or going from being in a dry space to being in the shower. And like, you feel the shift physically, but also on an energetic level, a lot is happening. And so the question becomes, how do I, sitting at a computer and like, it's stationary, like I'm not moving, I'm not going to do jumping jacks with a client, I'm not going to do like run around the room while I'm interviewing a podcast guest. So then what can I do to overcome that kind of sensation in the body? And the reality is that it's a lot more simple than we think. And so I'm really glad that you brought this up, because I know a lot of us are kind of like turning away the day at some sort of desk space. And it doesn't necessarily mean that we need to like do all these things, that are visible even to the naked eye, to overcome those really common issues. And the first thing I would say is to ask yourself, and so we can do it here with you today, like, where do you feel this almost maybe imposter syndrome of it's not good enough, or who am I to do this podcast? Where in your body do you feel like that kind of maybe fear of rejection or fear of failure?
Physically in my stomach.
Great.
No doubt about it.
Perfect. So great awareness. It's amazing that you already know where it is. Because some people are like, I don't know. And that's okay if you don't know either. But to have such clarity in where it is, amazing. Like that is the first step. And it's honestly 50% of the way there. And so what we're going to do is place a finger on your stomach, whatever the most intense part is. And if you're listening to this and you're like, okay, what could that be for me? If you have some sort of situation in your life where you're like, oh, I feel it in my heart space or my throat, and I don't know, oh my God, like, I don't know where it is. Just put a finger wherever you feel guided to and do this along with us. So wherever your finger is, I want you to rate this on a scale of 1 to 10, 1 being kind of like pretty subtle and neutral, and 10 being like, this is pretty intense. I don't know if I can handle this.
Currently, I'm about an 8.
Great. So we're going to stay with this 8, staying with this, and maybe inviting a few deep breaths in through the nose, letting the belly expand and out through the mouth. Twice more, just like that. Beautiful. Once more. What I want you to do now with me, I'm going to do it on you and you can do it on yourself as well. The way that this works, by the way, is like about 70 to 80% of all matter in the universe is something called dark matter, which is actually not physically detectable. And so energy runs through all of us and connects all of us. That's the basics of how this can work, even with us not being in the same room. Okay. So while I do my stuff over here, I want you to like almost like coil and corkscrew energy out of wherever is most intense. And it'll look like as if you were doing like a wine twist, right? So wine bottle twist with your finger out of the stomach. So you're kind of what you're doing is lengthening the energy. This is almost as if you were stretching muscles. You're like lengthening the energy out of your stomach. So it's not as dense, it's not as like tight. We're just starting to play with it and work with it, letting it know that it's okay to be here. It's safe to be here. We're not trying to change anything or make it go away. Letting this energy just kind of be like Play-Doh right now. Beautiful, Jamie. You're doing so great. Curious, what are you noticing physically right now? Any heat or sharpness, or how would you describe the energy that you're working with right now?
Okay, this probably sounds gross, but I can almost feel like my feet getting sweaty.
Yeah.
I'm standing in my kitchen and I have my flip-flops on. So it's like, oh, they're tacky on my feet. Why am I saying this?
No, that's a great sign of energy starting to move around. The feet is actually a wonderful exit point for the body to release energy, sweat, whatever it is. And so that's a beautiful sign, great awareness. Do you notice anything around the stomach area or any other body part?
My palms, which my palms get sweaty a lot when I get nervous or yeah, they clam up. Even in a scene in a movie or my husband's driving, I just put my hand on his arm so he can feel the sweat on my palms and he knows. Chill out.
We're like the same. That's so funny because mine will like drip sometimes. Like,
yeah. Oh,
I know, gross. Somebody told me once at like this energy training that that's like a sign of really powerful energy. So I just wanted to like bounce that back to you. If anybody else listening has sweaty hands or sweaty feet ever, like powerful energy.
I'll take it.
Running through.
Yeah.
Oh, yes. Love it. Okay. So, and in your stomach, what are you noticing right now?
It's feeling a little lighter.
Uh-huh.
It is feeling a little lighter because I'm laughing and loosening up and noticing my sweaty feet and sweaty palms. So I'm not paying as much attention to it.
And so when you think of potentially having somebody, maybe your first bad review, because it will come eventually, what happens in your body?
Oh yeah, my stomach will tighten up and then my brain starts to, see, I told you.
Let's stay with the stomach for a little bit and maybe even closing the eyes.
Okay.
Putting your finger or your palm on the most intense spot. And what we just did there is something I like to call kind of like poking the bear, stoking the fire. like really calling to mind scenarios that throw our body for a loop so that we can really kind of dig into the depth of what's happening here and release it as quickly as possible. Maybe gently even opening the mouth, the jaw, as you notice and breathe into the space. Noticing how it feels on a physical level. Any physical sensations that are propping up, be anything from changes in temperature to density to openness.
I almost feel like it's moving into my chest.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Yeah.
And I feel it's that shame that comes over that I know is not mine,
Mm-hmm.
but it is settled in and it turns into self-doubt.
Mm-hmm.
So it's like that shame, that self-doubt, and then the inner critic comes up. And then I start to feel it in my chest too.
So, what are you feeling physically in your chest?
Weight, like it's just
Great.
heavy.
Yep. And would you say that your chest is feeling a little more intense than your stomach at this point in time, or stomach still most intense?
No, my chest, almost like it's hard to
Chest?
take a deep breath. Like I wanted to hold my breath.
Yep. Mm-hmm. So moving your hands then to the most intense spot on your chest. Again, really great awareness with like
Mm-hmm.
feeling that this is kind of a weight, a physical, energetic weight. Staying really sensitive to this area right now and kind of present with literally just physical sensations, not creating, stories or defining what this is. It's just staying with this as a feeling sensation, tuning into it with your senses. I'm going to invite you to do something I call the needle prick. And yes, if you want to yawn, by the way, that is a beautiful release of energy as well. So I highly encourage any yawning, any opening of the jaw to kind of let the breath help you move the energy through. Yeah, we'll talk about that later on. If you're open to it, I want you to put your fingernail. It looks like you kind of have great nails for this, actually. So you'll put your fingernail on the most intense part. So if that's like the size of a dime, you'll put it on that size, on that dime size area. If it's the size of a palm, you can put it at the very epicenter of that palm sized area. So taking your fingernail and kind of poking into. Mm-hmm.
I think.
Yep, yep, yep. Wherever you're guided is perfectly fine. Lovely.
I don't know, maybe it's here. I moved it.
Mm-hmm. And as you stay with this fingernail on this point, I want you to sink into that spot, really letting yourself arrive and melt here. Again, we're not trying to change anything necessarily or make it go away. We're just accepting it, letting it be, and just noticing physical things underneath the surface. Sending love through your finger into your heart space. Letting it know that it's okay, it's safe to be here. It's 2:22 over here as we're doing this work. As symbolic of like, you guys are a team. You know, this sensation is here to serve you. It's here to help you. What are you noticing physically right now, Jamie?
I feel like I want to move my finger more over my heart.
Why is that?
Because it feels like it's racing and I just want it to calm down.
Mm-hmm. So racing. What else are you noticing?
I don't know. I don't know. It's more of a feeling or just, a thought that pops into my head of, my heart's tougher, if that makes sense. But yet it's soft. And the feeling that I know I can handle whatever's coming. But I'm not going to deny that it's a little scary. And I question, what did I get myself into? I committed to things and here it is go time. And then you start to feel yourself retracting. And I know that I'm going to have these dips or these moments of self-doubt. And I know I always rebound from them and then I come back stronger, but I'm really impatient with the dip right now. I just want to rebound and get back into my flow and back into what I love to do. And I know I'm good at doing, and it's there. And I want it to go away. Simply put, move out.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. What if it stayed? What if it stayed, but just kind of changed a little bit? What if it was neutral instead of so charged with weight or heart racing? What we resist persists. And this is true with all things, energy included. And what we want to find, whether we're doing this on our own or with somebody like me, is this love and acceptance towards what's happening right now.
Mm-hmm.
And the fully accepting it is part of the being able to release, which is ironic in some ways, because you're like, here, let me hug you, and then it's gone,
Right.
Like that's kind of how it feels sometimes, is you make peace with it and then it goes away. Like that's how I've seen this work for myself and for a lot of other people. And of course, sometimes it takes a little more time, and that's always like, it takes as long as we need,
Mm-hmm.
Sometimes it can be in like 2 minutes, sometimes 20, sometimes a few days. Like, I trust that, this will resolve, and it's only a matter of time. That's how I see it.
Mm-hmm.
And so I'm curious, when it comes to doing the thing, doing the podcast thing, getting on the mic, feeling into your podcast power, how does that feel in your body right now?
I almost feel like I need to grab my pen and paper and, write stuff down, almost get back to that one-on-one coaching with myself and then share those experiences.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
Because I think what blocks me is I know I get in my flow when I get in that mode of coaching and working with other people, and I can sit down and do it to myself. And even when I'm writing, it's then all of a sudden the spotlight's on just you. And it feels just, yeah, it's different or heavy. And so maybe finding that new channel to deliver it through. Mm-hmm.
When you tune into that, what does your body feel on a physical sensation level?
It feels lighter.
Mm-hmm.
What else? Even though it's nerve-wracking, I know that, I don't know, like I think it's me taking my power back. I feel like I've handed my power away and I need to get it back. That's just
Mm-hmm.
what comes up.
Yeah, yeah. And those are all wonderful, like phrases. I love those
Mhm,
types of phrases. And
mhm.
what I want to encourage you to sink in a little bit more. We'll take a little more time with this because I wanna like crack this open. Um, anything that's like not a physical sensation. So taking power back, I can't feel that,
Right.
for example. Um, being in the flow, I can't feel that. And so when you notice your heart or your stomach or even your throat or head space, what what's happening? Even if it's like a pulsing or a throbbing, like what are you feeling physically in the body when you think of being in this like podcast world overall?
I feel, well, currently
Mm-hmm,
I
mm-hmm,
have a current and a what I want
mm-hmm, mm-hmm,
because I know what I want, or I know the feeling I want because I've been in it. And right now it's like I feel the thumping
mm-hmm,
in my chest, and I
mm-hmm,
can feel in the knots in my stomach, I feel like have eased a little bit. It's
mm-hmm,
mostly all of a sudden, and that little bit of that thumping in my chest. And I know when I'm in my groove of in the podcast world and I'm spitting it out there, it's just this electric of this ease of exhilaration, but yet relaxed.
yep, yep,
So
beautiful.
not, yeah, lighter,
A little lighter, perfect. And
lighter,
so
because it
right
feels heavy
now feels heavy.
now.
That's
Mhm,
such a
mhm.
beautiful awareness, and I love how easily you dropped into that. So yeah, thank you for going there with me. This is actually part of what I think can take a lot of time is to sink into the body. And so I feel like,
Mhm.
I mean, you do understand and and you are able to drop in. So that's beautiful. And for those who are listening, if you're not quite sure, because numbness is a real thing, like body numbness, not feeling anything is a thing. I want to encourage you to sit with yourself in silence and take like deep breaths for maybe like 90 seconds to like 3 minutes and just notice the practice of expanding your body and contracting your body, right? And just like how breath feels in the body, even if you're just like visibly looking at yourself expanding and contracting. If you do notice that there's sensations, like for example, sometimes I'll feel like densities around here, like the sternal head area, like sternum.
Mhm.
And so what I'll do if I'm like feeling that way at the computer before doing something is I kind of break up the energy with a little bit of like tapping.
Mhm.
And EFT is a great tool for this, by the way. Like great tool to break up energy. You can like tap it out
Mhm.
with maybe even multiple fingers. Sometimes I use my like whole palm and I'll do like kind of like the like what is it, Tarzan or George of the Jungle type thing. so so that's a great way to kind of like get into physical sensation and feeling energy maybe moving underneath.
Mm-hmm.
And then if you feel like, okay, there's weight, there's density, there's something that I feel like I want to take it out, we can take it out with the hands. So this is energy extraction. Mm-hmm. So anything that you want to kind of be lifted off, we like take it out with like a pinch and pull. This is like you pinch your hands as if you were like taking something out of the a basket, you know, you pinch and you pull it out. Or like the corkscrew that we were doing before. And so I definitely think that the knots in your stomach can be undone with this type of work for sure. Like especially the energy extraction, because you already kind of have an awareness of the energy,
Mm-hmm.
and it's definitely something that I feel is not too like deep down there. Like I have a feeling that this is going to come out easier than you might expect.
It's in my throat.
Yeah. Yep. So if
I'm
it,
not gonna start throwing up.
no,
Am
no,
I?
no, go like this, go like this, go like this. Open your mouth and pinch and pull. Perfect. Yep. Uh-huh. Beautiful. And so what we're doing right now, she's opening her mouth and taking out the energy, literally taking, as if you were taking out food from something that the dog shouldn't eat, like, or like something the dog ate, and you're like, give it to me, and you're taking it out. It's like that. So reaching in and taking it out. Mm-hmm. And breathing as you do, because like I said,
I'm holding my
the
breath.
mouth. Uh-huh. Mm-hmm.
Oh, this is a
Exhaling as
great
you take
visual.
it out. Uh-huh. Beautiful. Yep. Oh, sorry, just like bumped my mic. Lovely. Um,
I feel that because I've been in this space where I can feel myself, I see myself, like I know it's there, I believe it, like
mm-hmm,
just
mm-hmm,
grabbing my phone, because I'm always, when I'm alone, I'm always talking podcast out to everyone. I'm carrying on these conversations, and
mm-hmm.
I hit record, and then bleh, and I
Yeah,
can just feel it though, that it's coming to where it'll be whenever, wherever. And I grab
absolutely.
my phone or I grab my computer and I just blah, 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 blah. And I'm like, good, boom, done, publish that.
Mm-hmm.
And I can feel it. I know it's coming. And I'm trying to accept that. But yeah, I just need to.
Yeah, yeah. And just like it's interesting too, because that was like it felt to me like we scooped energy out. You just like scooped it out. Like it
Mhm.
probably originated maybe in the heart or the stomach, and then just kind of like you like it comes up, right? And so whether that's energy that's moving down towards your feet, you can swipe and wash down energy down your arms and down your feet. And sometimes it'll come out through the mouth with a yawn, or like you feel like there's something, oh my God, it came to my throat, let's pull it out. Right. And so whenever you're sitting down to podcast, what I would say for you, or even anybody else who's like, oh my God, I'm doing something new and I'm sitting down to do it, like we like the palms on the chest or the palms on the stomach or wherever you're feeling the intensity, placing the hand there, doing a little bit of like tapping or
Mhm.
pulsing or even massaging of the area, like kind of breaking up the energy and kind of warming it up so that you can work with it. And then either extracting energy out, like whether it's coming out through the mouth or it's something that you extract through the heart or the stomach. Like the navel is actually a big energy point that I pull a lot of stuff out.
Mhm.
Um, and then you seal in love energy. This is how I like to do it, at least. We seal in, once we feel like it's neutral, we'll seal it in. And because we're not quite there yet, I don't know, I guess we can check in. But I don't know if we're quite there at this moment in time. Um, like I would continue kind of doing this stuff
Mhm.
until I feel like it's a round of one or even a two. Where do you feel like you're at right now?
I'd say I'm definitely like a 3-4. Like it's
Mm-hmm.
went way down.
Mm-hmm.
Um, I don't feel it in my stomach right now.
Yeah.
There's a little bit left in my chest and a little bit in my throat. But it's not that heavy, and my heart's not, there's not that heavy or that pounding.
Mm.
It's almost just like this little bit of tightness maybe around my throat.
So let's dive in there again. Let's like do a little more, just a little more. I feel like we're like on a roll here. So
we're on the
like,
brink. I can
we're
feel
on the
it
brink.
too.
I can feel it
feel
too.
It's like it's right there, and I'm like, what's the final straw? It's like a piece of candy that you're choking on, and it's like one more Heimlich.
Exactly. So I over here, I'm gonna do some of my own stuff. What I want you to do for yourself is something like this, like kind of this, like, yeah. So what we're doing is, and I'm kind of like guiding Jamie to press energy up with her palms. Perfect. So the reason we're doing this is because we want to kind of guide energy in whatever direction we feel like it's already going. So if I feel like it's going up, like we're gonna keep, pulsing it up a little bit, channeling up. Exactly.
So I'm basically, I'm taking from my thumbs and I'm kind of siphoning it up from my chest, like out my throat.
Exactly.
I feel like I want to just take my thumbs now and go like this up what's this, my esophagus?
Yeah. Yes, let's do that.
It reminds me of just, almost like a massage technique to move the knots out.
Yeah, absolutely.
It does. It feels not tight. What's the opposite? Like, really, I don't feel it in my stomach anymore. I mean, there's little bits in my chest, but I feel like, if I just keep moving like this, it does. It's like I'm a baby again. I'm self-soothing, right? I have my binky.
Absolutely.
And it helps to laugh about it, right? It's just because I've been, thinking things like that too. I'm the one just deciding to start and do all this. And so I feel everything that I feel in my body, well, I'm creating it. Right? I'm the creative one, so I can change it. And why not change this energy, right? And even if some of it's there, it can be used for me, not against me. Because as much as I'm in tune with my body, like you said, I mean, I put the words to it. Maybe I'm trying to convince myself with words and phrases, and I'm a quote junkie way too much, and I just need to feel it and release it.
Convincing yourself with touch and feeling sensation.
My first true real yawn.
Yep, I felt that one.
I'm seeing you yawn, and yawns are so contagious. And I'm like, I don't think there's anybody in a room that I see yawn and I don't feel the need to yawn. And this is the first time all of a sudden when I feel like some of the stuff is released, a yawn came on natural.
Yep.
So now what kind of energy do I feed it and push down? Does it need to be replaced, or does it need to just be transformed, or tell me what I'm actually doing?
So this part right here of this emptiness that I feel, at least, I feel neutrality like a lot more right now. And it feels you, like the way you look, I wish you guys could see her face right now. It's just like so light, like wow, like you're already a light in the world. So whatever you do to seal this in, which we're gonna do next, you're gonna like be so powerful with not just the podcast, but like everything else that you put into the world with this, wow, like this light that you have. So
my palms just got sweaty again. What does that mean? You're scaring me. You're right.
Sweatiness of palms and feet is like an energy activation. You can think of it that way.
Okay.
Like you're activating energy. And when my palms get sweaty, it's almost like usually coming from a place of either intense desire or excitement, or it's just the truth, right? Like your body is responding to something. So it's a good sign. Now, when you think of podcasting from this space, how does your body feel?
It feels way more excited, but I have this vision right now of, oh, you're gonna laugh. Eminem.
Yes!
Eminem, the rapper, when he says my palms are sweaty and he's just like spewing it out in his own truth. Like he's not defending anybody or anything. And you can call me what you want. Here's who I am. Yeah. And
oh my God, that is such also
I think I need
like,
to listen to Eminem.
I was gonna say, like, I like that song.
My palms are sweaty, my feet. I can't.
Yep.
Something about his mom's spaghetti.
Yes. You know what that song is a symbol of? Is life force energy pulsing through a channel. Like channel for that song. The fact that we're still speaking about this as something to pump us up today, like I've been like encouraged to use this song before recording webinars, for example, or like anything. Like the people literally recommend this song before because it's something that activates that soul energy within us that wants to come channeling through. And that's what I feel like is the sweaty hands and the sweaty feet. It's not linked necessarily to anxiety or nerves or whatever. It can be for sure, but what it's more linked to in the broad scope of things is your life force energy, your soul's energy coming through. And so I feel that, and like just even the image of you like dancing around the house and like mouthing or singing or whatever. I don't even know the words really, but I will like get into it and act like I'm Eminem or Beyonce or whoever it is for you. The image of you doing that is like whoosh, like so powerful.
Well, and it's funny because I do that. I crank the music and dance and all that. And one of the ones that has really been on my mind a lot lately, I shouldn't just say lately, for probably the last 2 years since I've had this podcast idea, is Katy Perry, Roar.
Yes. Yes.
And it's kind of like my pump me up song. So I guess maybe that's, I got to listen to that and just, but I feel really light. I do not feel, I mean, if there would be a tinge, I just took a really deep breath. I mean, I think I'm a 1 or less.
Wow.
Wow.
Let's bring your hands to your heart center and seal that in. Taking a deep breath in through your nose, breathing in all that love and life force energy that you're meant to embody and channel through. And exhaling, just letting your channel flow free out through the mouth. Twice more, just like that. Really sighing it out.
And I don't know if you can hear my dog, Roxy. She's barking and literally scratching at the door. And it's not, I just want to laugh about it. It's not, I think about
She's like, I want some of that energy. Like, what is that?
Yeah, I mean, I don't feel like, be quiet. That's going to have to be edited out. I don't care. Let her go. She's adorable.
Yes, she is.
So an energy shift for sure.
One more deep breath in, really breathing in this love, this neutral, this peaceful energy. And then exhaling with a sigh out. Sitting in stillness for a few more seconds, breathing naturally, letting yourself really melt into this moment of freedom, this moment of love, peace, freedom to do whatever you please, love to carry you through the moments, regardless of how challenging they are, peace to remind you that all you have is now. It's just now, today, this moment. Thanking yourself for opening up to this experience, opening up to the possibilities of expanding your energy and working with your energy and letting some stuff go. And as we seal in the energy, allowing your hands to almost be this insertion energy of love, your hands inserting this peace, this love, this freedom, the lightness that you feel in your body, inserting that into your heart space. And then gently bringing your hands down back to your lap. And slowly opening your eyes back to the room.
Thank you so much for being here as we kick off this podcast together. I really appreciate you joining me on this journey because I'm well aware you could be doing or listening to anything right now. Hey, if you enjoy the Authentically Raw content, please support the show by following, rating, and reviewing on Apple Podcasts or wherever you listen. You can also follow me on social media for daily inspiration. Head over to my website, jamieberris.com, to sign up for weekly transformation tips. Or if you're interested in coaching, I currently have 3 openings for one-on-one coaching. If you're looking for an empowering community, we'd love for you to join us in the Transformation Tribe, our group coaching membership. More info available on my website under the Life Coaching and Membership tabs. One last thing, I'm rooting for you. Be real, be raw, be authentic.